You're doing Captivate Class. I was like, of course, my wife just cracked up. She's like, oh yeah, you told me about something. Yeah, maybe.
Can everybody online hear me all right? Eric? Yep, everyone's good. Okay. So first to start out, many of you have reached out. It was a sucky week last week, and it'll be kind of sucky this week. The funeral is on Saturday. If you didn't hear, my younger brother passed away. He was up on the mountain, Snowbird, where he loves to be. He's super healthy. I mean, he's 8 years younger than I am. He died on the mountain doing what he loved. So at least we could say that. Not that it's a great silver lining, but he had a heart attack. It runs in our family. You've maybe heard that I've had one. Funny, I put that video out there a few days before he actually passed from the same exact issue that we have that runs in our family. So we're going to be a little bit more diligent about tracking things and making sure we're all good. And many of you reached out, and there's nothing that I need, nothing we need. We're all good. We're just sad. So it's the main thing. But didn't mean to start out on such a bad note, but I know a lot of people had reached out, and I just wanted to kind of say that we're good and we'll get through it and things like that. Many of you probably had to deal with things like that too, and it's not fun, especially when it's unexpected, things like that. So he was young and healthy. I mean, he was either up on the mountain or he was on the lake when summer, winter type of thing. And then he managed the valet group over at a Hilton resort. And so he was always super active, and he had no other health issues whatsoever, good shape and everything. But so yeah, that's that. Okay, now our numbers are dwindling. And part of that I know is because I overwhelm everybody. And it is a little overwhelming. What I'm really trying to do, and I've spent quite a bit of time in the last bit especially, actually succeeding at making things more streamlined, more automated, more easy not more difficult. I know I teach a lot of things that are like, you should be doing this, 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 and this, right? And it starts to just it adds up. And our goals obviously are: one, we need to generate more leads. Two, we need to nurture those leads until they go under agreement with us. Three, we need to manage transactions, and we need that to continue to grow. That's all we're really trying to do. Trying to add work and effort and time to that is not the goal. It's actually trying to make it easier and faster. So the things I'm going to show you today, which I hope you get really excited about, is how we're going to be able to utilize this system in a way to generate more listing leads, to manage the promises that are made. I think I said this in the email I sent before. For those of you that have been trying to do what I teach in terms of advertising your listings, you're going to be both very excited and also kind of mad at me, because now it's so much easier. It is like, it would take about 2 hours to put all those ads together. If anyone's done the ads that I recommend on social media, and you had to do 6 ads over the 5 days leading up to the open house, remember all that, the hooks, the call to action, all that kind of stuff. And I've got people that are reading the book and trying to check all the boxes and stuff. It's now literally within 3 clicks, you can do the whole advertising campaign. If you want to expand on it, you can do a little bit more, but now it's just so much easier and faster that it's great. I know many of you, I tell you the cool stories that get you excited. Some are like, yeah, I've heard enough. But that house that sold in Eagle Mountain, I went through the entire process of what I teach with this system to get the house. So basically, we were under contract in 4 days. We didn't even get to the open house, and I was like, all right with it, because winter and what happened with my brother and all that kind of stuff. But they close tomorrow, which is crazy that it's happening so fast. But we got 5 offers, 2 escalation clauses, 22 showings in the 3 days, and then they're closing tomorrow. They want to close as fast as they possibly could on the property. We staged it. I'll film that. I actually staged it myself this time just because I wanted to film the whole thing. So it was a very, very busy, couple of weeks ago, I guess, in that. Yeah.
You have your clients pay for the staging?
Yes, they pay for all that. So they paid me this time for the staging, because I charged them $2,000, and it was just a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. They had 2 really small bedrooms. Like a lot of those new builds, the master bedroom was pretty decent size. The other rooms are like the size of a closet. I mean, it's so tiny. So I had to turn the beds, like day beds, sideways in order to actually be able to put a bed in there. But if I didn't, you'd look at that room like, who's going to be able to sleep in this room? So I staged all that, and there's no yard yet because it's a brand new house. But we got so much interest in that. I got 3 backup offers and people saying, please let us know if this doesn't go through. We sold it for $8,000 more than the builder sells the exact same house for right now. They can buy it and get it for $8,000 cheaper, but they don't stage their houses as flagship. And so it makes a huge difference. We advertised it. I got a ton of leads coming through Facebook through that. Yes.
As long as we're talking about staging, I'm wondering I don't know if you have experience with this or not. How important is physical staging versus the option of virtual staging for all the MLS?
Okay, that's a great question. So if anybody did not hear that, he asked the difference between virtual staging and actual staging. The only time I ever virtually stage homes are my rentals. So I have rentals out there, and I will virtually stage those, because if it's a full, like a long-term rental, they're going to bring their own furniture. I don't want to put a bunch of furniture in there, to just so that they can see the pictures. But I use the pictures every single time I go to rent that property. So I love virtual staging for that. But virtual staging for actual properties, especially if I want to get them to the house. What's crazy is we didn't have an open house, but I was letting people see the house without, how you can set it so it can be overlapped, So I did that. I went one time because a client from Facebook called me to go see the house. So I went to go show the house. There were 4 people there, 4 groups there when I was going to show the house. So it was kind of cool to see all these. It was like an open house, and I wasn't even an open house. But yes, the answer to your question is it's always physically staged if it's a sell for me. That's my opinion.
But they don't see the physical staging unless they actually show up.
Yes, but most will show up once they, they'll go through and look at it online. We know they spend a lot of time doing that. And there are times where you get someone out of state or someone that just sees the virtual staging and might be good enough for that. But this particular, here, I'll bring it up so you can see it. So everyone online can see this as well. So let me share my screen.
It really does make such a difference.
Oh, it's night and day. I know I've told you this. I know I've told you this before, but of all the things that I can recommend for a return on investment, staging is number one on that. Even though you got curb appeal, you got those 4 things you need to do. Staging is the highest return on investment. You spend $2,000 in staging, you're going to get $20,000 more for the house. Basically, we had a builder that came to my classes that I was teaching. This is a few years ago. And they were building spec homes because they stopped building the homes, custom homes for people. So they started selling their spec homes. He said, once we started staging the homes based on what you said, we were selling the exact same model, the exact same home, same areas for $38,000 more when they were staged than when they weren't staged. So he was a true believer on that. But here, let me show you this house. We listed it for $475, and I know that sounds cheap, but this is way out in city center, way at the end of city center. Like literally, it takes from the time you get into Eagle Mountain, it's like 15 more minutes just to get to this place. It's crazy how far out it is. They're going to have to figure out traffic there because they're building a new. I don't know if you've heard it. It's called Firefly. 8,300 homes that they're building out there, and they're expanding Facebook, Tyson, and they're putting a distribution Walmart center out that way. So they got to figure out, but this is the house. It's a really nice house. I mean, when you think about this for 480 or 475 is what we listed at, the builder is selling this house for I think it's 495 is what they're selling it for, but they're giving $10,000 in concessions plus a buy down rate at 4.9. When you add that up, they're basically selling the house for 470 something, right? So we sold this house without any concessions. There's no concessions whatsoever on this property. We actually, because we had people competing against it, we sold it for 490, 0 concessions. So we actually they made more money than the builder would have made on this. So it is because there's no grass, because this is what it really looks like. So we did virtually do the grass because that's what it looks like out front. Okay,
and you
so
have to post that, like if you're listing it with that, you have to post it.
Yeah, we posted that's not real. Yeah, it's virtual. Huh? The builder actually hasn't gotten to doing the grass yet, so that's included on the front yard, not the backyard on this. So we advertised all that too. But the inside of the house, we staged. I had to buy the table and chairs because we wanted to film it, so I didn't hire the stager, but I always hire stagers. I don't stage your own homes. It is a lot of work. It is a ton of work, but they paid for it. So I had them pay for it. They paid $2,000 for us to stage the house. Those are bar stools from our house, so we actually pulled furniture out of our own house. The couch and sofa and love seat, I convinced the owners that they had bought a brand new, because they never moved into the house. So they had these there at the house, but that was it. So they had the sofa, the love seat, and this chair there. And so they let us, kind of go around that. These pictures that are in the house are from our house. We actually pulled pictures off our walls and put them in there, except for that one right there. That's the one behind the table. I bought it DI, so, but that table and chairs I did buy, but then I actually helped someone else buy a house, and he bought those table and chairs for me for what I paid for. So it worked out really good. And he was super excited. It's kind of weird how things just work out, right? That picture is from our house. It's actually a good friend of mine who's a painter. And so I put a real painting in the house. This bed is actually our bed in our guest room. So we have a guest room bed. So we put that in there. But I'll show you this. And we even staged the bathroom. But wait till you see these other 2 rooms. There's the walk-in closet isn't big. So when the walk-in closets are very plain, because everybody wants a nice walk-in closet, I stage them. So does the stager do that. So it just looks a little bit better. But these are the 2 front rooms. There is no way you could fit a full bed in these rooms. So this is a day bed, obviously. But staged, it looks pretty decent, right? But unstaged, it was like, it literally is like the size of a big closet, or like your master, walk-in closet or something like that. So that's one of them. And this is the other one. So this is a full bed, but it's turned sideways. And these are pulled from our house, except for this one I actually bought on Facebook. You can see the 2 knobs. I'd go buy 2 more knobs on that. And I did for the pictures. No. Our kids have moved out. So we're in a place that we could do that. So they're not sleep. I didn't make them sleep on the floor. But I will say a lot of all these pictures that you see here and these nightstand, these are, if it's not DI, or which is like, our version of a thrift store out here in Utah, it's all DI, but other places it's Salvation Army, whatever. And then Facebook Marketplace. So I bought a few of the knickknacks, and then we just pulled a lot of stuff, little things like this. But anyway, so we staged it, but it sold very, very quickly. But staging is a big deal. Yes.
Did your son shoot this?
Yes, they did. My sons helped take pictures, and we did all the videos. So we did a single property website. I can show you all that and what that looks like if you want. That's what I want to show you on the listing side. But we went through the whole process of staging the house. We couldn't do much with curb appeal except for putting the artificial grass, that wasn't real. And but I did the ads, and I'll show you how I did the ads. So I'm going to show you today through the system. I didn't spend hours and hours like before putting all the ads together. It was literally 3 clicks, and I just let it go out, and I got a ton of leads just like before, but I didn't have to spend all the time, which is really cool. So I love this system. I think what I'm really trying to impress on you all is that because of this system, it's not a pivot in what Captivate is. This is an enhancement or an improvement. Captivate used to be, here's Mike throwing out a fire hose of all these ideas, and now I got to figure out how to implement all these things. Now it's, here's a system that takes what Mike teaches and puts it into a way that's so easy. It's either automated or it's so close to just a few clicks of a mouse that you're going to be able to implement a lot of these things without having to spend all the time that you have to spend before. So I hope you see that. So what I want to do is I want to come over here to the CRM. And first, what is really important that everyone has hopefully done up to this point, your website needs to be set up so that you can engage with people as they go to your website, right? They're not, the property reports and all those type of things that go with their property, which I'll show you in just a second, isn't necessarily needed for your website to be set up for that. But then you're going to want them to go to your website to find out what their house is worth. And I'll show you all those type of things. So I'm hoping you have your website set up. If you don't, let me know, or let Braden know, or one of us, so we can get that dialed in for you. The second thing is that your Canva files need to be updated. Those are manual things you're going to have to just do. But once you've got that done, this just takes it over for you. And that's what I want you to see that. So whenever I just added this lead, and Mary was grateful enough to be our lead. So don't call her and spam her or anything that you're seeing her. We're trying to avoid from that. Yeah, exactly. Unless you're going to bring her treats. And if you ever want to get the malasa or the Greek donuts, oh man, yeah. So when you add a contact, right? And I want you to add everybody. Please think of this now as everybody that you can be in a regular contact with, not a sales message, but a service message of what is your house worth? What could you do with the equity in your property? I can help you professionally look at the opportunities that you have as a homeowner or a first-time buyer to get what you want, not what I'm trying to get from you. And I want you to really understand that that's what this is about. It's about helping and serving people, not about selling and pushing people into things that, they're like, oh, I don't want to hear from you. Now they're like, hey, thank you. Even when I asked Mary, can I send you this information? She's like, oh yeah, I'd like to get that. I'd like to know what my house is worth and get that statement each month. So yes.
Okay, quick question. So if you have in your contacts, you have, say, a husband and wife, and then they have a son that is also a potential client.
Yeah.
Do you link the husband and wife together, but then do you make a separate one for the son?
I would make a separate one for the son because he's likely going to be looking elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
Just think of it in the terms of, If there's a couple that are going to be living together, selling together, doing those things together, then yeah, if they've got a son that's buying age, that's going to be a first-time buyer, I'd make them a separate contact.
Okay, and so then do I take him, because the way I have it now is he's like listed under there as a relative. So do I take him out of there?
They're under them as a relative. No, it's not going to hurt, but you just want to make sure that you have an option to send information about the properties to the main person, the primary person, and any of the family members. So you don't necessarily want him to get information about their parents' house all the time. So that's why you would maybe not do that.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so again, when you've got a contact inside of your database, I just want to walk you through how this is set up for you, and then what this is going to do. We'll focus mostly on the listing side, but just so that you understand how the system is working for you, not you having to do a whole bunch of stuff that you had to maybe do before. So all their contact information is here. If I go into edit, so when you go to add someone, just make sure the more information you put in here, the more helpful it will be for you. So if you can get their birthday in there and, you know, where they came from, any information you can put in there at some point, doesn't have to happen all at once, but try to keep this updated, because the more the system understands or knows about your people, the more it actually tries to help them. And we're trying to build on top of this more helpful information than just kind of the spammy, you know, markety stuff, right? So, and this is where she was talking about adding family members. If, you know, I'm not going to do this to Mary's husband in this case, but, you know, her husband's awesome. He's the one that does the Greek donuts. I could add him here, but then he would get copied on all these things, right? That's going to be helpful. So that's where you put that information. So I hope you've kind of seen how this is set up. This is where the consent to contact is. These things have to be opted in order for them to receive this information automatically. So only opt in those, of course, that you have talked to or that you have some relationship with, you know, or a lead that came in that you paid for and they opted in. Otherwise you could get sued, or not sued, fined or in trouble for that. You all know that, right? Okay. So over here, you get this lead score. This is super important. We'll talk about this down the road when we talk about your power hour in the morning. I want you to be able to spend 1 hour a day, and that's it, just 1 hour, going after the lowest hanging fruit of people that are ready to take the next step. Our goal is basically just to help people take the next step in what they want to do, not what you're trying to get them to do. Does that make sense, the difference there? Most sales messages are about what we want them to do for us so we can get paid. And everyone knows that. You know it when vendors and people that try to sell you things come after you that way. But when you want something and someone helps you and gives you information that's usable and valuable, then it becomes a service message instead of a sales message, okay? So that's what we're trying to accomplish. So this lead score will help indicate where they are in engagement. The higher the number, the more engaged they are. I just barely added Mary, so her engagement's pretty low, right? But it's going to go up, hopefully. But I told her, be earnest about it. Don't just do it because it's, you know, don't stay engaged because it's, you know, something I'm sending her. I want her to tell me this sucks, this is cool, this is, and so we can refine this even better, okay? And then there's the property. So you want to make sure the properties are in there. This property is basically her own property as a owner. And we'll have to, I guess, blur that out at some point when we record this, because I wanted it to be real information. So engagement as a seller. So right now she's set up as a seller. Now, if I want her to also be a buyer, that's set up here. So you'll see this lead type. There's buyer, seller, renter, investor, agent, owner, landlord. These are lead types. We'll get into this a little bit later about the workflows of each of these, but you want to make sure you designate. If you don't put her in as a buyer lead type, you won't have the ability to send a property alert because she's not a buyer, right? And it triggers communications about getting ready to buy and what you want to think about during that time. That, again, is supportive and helpful, not salesy.
So it actually will disable the ability to send a property report?
It just doesn't even show up. So it's not, yeah, I guess it's in a sense disabled. Like right now, like here, if I go to engagement, I don't even see send a property report here. I don't even have the option to send that. If I come over here and I say she's a buyer and then I hit save, now I can do property alerts. See how it just popped up like that?
So you want to have them be as many lead types as you.
If it fits, yeah. And again, if I put her in as a buyer lead type, I've got a smart plan, a campaign triggered to help her think about what it takes to buy a property. And again, it's helpful information, not pushy, is what we're trying to do. But if I don't have her in there as a buyer lead type, then I don't want to send her that information because that'll annoy her. So that's why it's smart that way. I don't, if Mary says, we are thinking about maybe selling our home, but it's an investment property, or we're not buying another home, or whatever that is, I don't want to start sending her, frivolous, unimportant information to her about buying. Does that make sense? Or if it's a first-time buyer, they're a buyer but not a seller. Or if they're an investor, that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
I almost think that I'd want to have everyone marked as a buyer, so I have the option to send.
Oh, you have the option with just that click. So just to be clear, as soon as you put buyer watch, as soon as I do that, I can send a property alert. If there's no property alerts in there, she's not going to receive those. But because of the way we've set up the system, if I know that this is a buyer lead, don't I want to make sure, even without me having to do something as an agent, that person's getting some helpful information about buying a property? So what does it take to buy a property? What's down? We have communications that are like, did you know you can buy with zero down? Is it a smart to buy with zero down? How do you get rid of PMI? Or what does PMI mean? Isn't that kind of helpful information? So we want to drip that kind of information if they're a buyer lead. So remember, lead source doesn't mean that they couldn't possibly buy at some point. It just means that right now they're in my system as a lead for a buyer, and I want to drip them helpful information, even if it does take them 4 or 5 months to buy. Yes.
How about the classification of a seller to be able to send a home report? Is that needed?
Well, if they're a seller, then yes, since she's down there as seller, there's a home report right there as an option. If she wasn't a seller, I wouldn't see that option. But again, it's not that it's trying to hide it from you. It's just really trying to minimize the clutter of information for you, right? And make sure that they're not getting hit with information that's not relevant to them. If that makes sense.
So like you're trying not to spam them. So when they get information from you, it's relevant.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, I understand what you're saying, and I get this. Well, I just want to see all my options at once, but we're trying to make this so sophisticated in a way that we don't want to overwhelm you or make it so that they're accidentally getting things you didn't realize it. If they're a lead and they're a buyer lead, the system needs to know that so it can send them the information that's going to be relevant to them. If they're not a buyer lead, then it even hides from the view at that moment until you add them as a buyer lead, all that stuff. And of course, the system's not going to go in and start sending that information. Okay, does that hopefully help a little bit? So I'm going to say that Mary is a seller lead, even though she doesn't want to sell her house. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit home report. So I hit new report, and it shows already that address that's hers. Now, it found her place in just a second. I know some of you have mentioned that it's not finding those properties that you're putting in there. This is as finicky as even HomeBot was for us. I sometimes would have to take the address that they told me or that they typed into a lead, and then I have to go into, so I'm going to copy this. I would go into Maps, Google Maps. Whoops. Type that right. And then I would put in the address, and it would then find that if there is a difference. Like I've noticed that sometimes if you put north, south, east, west, or you don't put it, or if you spell it out, or if you put a period, like little tiny things can actually make it so it can't find it. So then I'll take whatever it found right here and I'll copy it, and then I'll put that into the CRM, and then it usually can find it. About 10% of properties it may not find. And if it doesn't, then I just send them a market report for that area. Okay. Any questions about that? So it did find it for her. Now, assign lender. You do not have to assign a lender if you don't want to. If you assign a lender to it, your lender gets notified so that they can start interacting and engaging, and they will actually be able to see what's here and add to it, which is really good if you want to be involved that way. So again, you can decide, you can say none, and then it won't go to that lender. You have the ability to have the lender pay for some of these things that are the extras. Like if you want to do 200 home reports, you know that it's going to cost you a monthly fee for that, which I highly recommend. We were paying that to HomeBot. Now we're going to just stay in here and I'll explain why we've decided to do that, because it integrates the whole thing. But now Dave pays half of that. So that's why it comes up as Dave, being that designated lender. Then it says right here, it says send email immediately. So I'm going to say this, Mary, this is now going to go to you as a home report. Now, I'm also going to go in here as a market report. I love the market reports. This only goes out once a month. These are sellers. How long do people think about buying and selling properties? Anybody remember? About a year. So what I want to have happen is, let's say I get a lead that comes in. Are they going to be under contract with me within a few days? Likelihood is no, it might take some time. This helps keep them engaged. That's why these are called engagements. So since she's in Sandy, it automatically pulled in Sandy. I didn't have to go look it up or anything like that. Because the property address was in there, it says, okay, Sandy, how often do I want to do this? I'm going to go ahead and send it monthly. Basically, it'll be just a monthly friendly email that says, here's what the market looks like in Sandy. It's good for a seller, wouldn't be good for a buyer, wouldn't be good for someone that just bought their property, something like that. So I go ahead and hit save. And oh, by the way, you can preview these. Should have done that. It'll send it to your mailbox and you can see what that looks like. You can also click on these to see what it looks like. This is what she receives in her email for her home report. Estimated value, home equity. It has a question mark here because I think in this sense, let me see if I click on this, what it shows. Yeah, for some reason, it doesn't know what that equity is, so it couldn't pull the information about what she owes on the property. Sorry, I'm showing everybody all this information. Okay, poor Mary. Okay, so it says home value, 5-year history. It really just popped up here. So again, this is pulling information from BlackRock, or not BlackRock. BlackRock?
Stone?
Blackstone. Is it Black? I can't remember now. Where do we get our CMA information from? Is it Blackstone? I know it's there's 2 different sources. Anyway, it'll come to me in a second.
Is it Black Knight?
But it's coming from that legit information. Black Knight. Thank you. Black Knight.
Someone online said not me.
Yeah, Black Knight. Yeah, thank you. Blackstone, BlackRock, Black something, right? Black Knight. But then it's trying to get them to take the next step. It says, get a professional report for your home. So hopefully they click on it. The more that they click and try to get more information, what I love about this is it's really getting them like, oh, wow, my house is worth that. But is that right? Oh, it's not the right number. But they can respond to this, get a professional report. It's crazy how much information comes back and forth with this, with just the leads that I put out there, at least on mine. So people are really engaging with this. When they do engage, it lets me know that they have. So I go under my activities and it'll say, here it is. Now, Mary, you opened it already. So she did. So it tells me that she opened it. So basically it's keeping track of all the different things that are happening on this side of it, as you're looking at it. So I'm going to send her the market reports, right? Yep. And then the home report as well. The seller report is basically where you can send information. Here, I can put in the report for this. I haven't been sending out a lot of seller report. Oh, that's right. Sorry. The seller report is when I have a property that's for sale that I want her to see and I want her to give a report. So let's say that you've done a home. Remember the showing reports that I told you about? When you go and show a house to someone and you take pictures and so they can remember it, you don't have to do that anymore. This is the coolest thing in the world. That's what that report is. So under the engagement is the seller report. So after you show somebody a house, you can send that report for that property. And then it'll send them the link to it and all the pictures and stuff like that. And so they can remember which houses they've seen, which is really cool. That's what the seller report is. Okay. The other thing here is called this send a CMA. So let's say that Mary starts looking at it and she calls up or texts or whatever she does, even responds to the AI that'll start being sent out. You'll start getting some of those messages. And she'll say, hey, I don't know if that is accurate enough, or I'm ready to sell, or what, you're going to go do a listing presentation. So this CMA is, I love this CMA. So send a CMA, and then it just goes through, and look at how quick this is. So here's the CMA. It's already done. Okay. This CMA is done. How long did that take? 3 seconds. Yeah. Now I want to adjust the comps. Maybe you want to do that. So if I click on adjust comps, this is showing you all the properties that it found. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. This is showing all the properties that are part of that CMA that it recreated. Now look at all the properties that have recently sold or are pending or are up for sale that's in that area, right? Now it pulled automatically 5 properties that it felt like were best matched with her property. Okay, that's what it's pulling right here. Now, does that mean they're accurate? It's doing it automatically. Who's the smartest person when it comes to this information? Honestly, you are. Just believe that you are. Even though this is smart, you're even smarter. So you have the ability now you can draw a polygon here. You can, look at the neighborhood itself more specifically. So there's the neighborhood itself. Isn't that cool? Now I can go right into just her neighborhood, right? And then based on this information, it's going to pull up all the properties that are in this particular area right here. Now, of course, you're going to know square footage and bedrooms and bathrooms from her property right here, the subject property. So you can then decide, oh, this one really doesn't fit. And neither does this one right here. But this one is a great property. This one definitely doesn't fit, but I like this one and, this one right here. Let's say, I actually found a couple, right? And it actually pulls a variety of sold, pending, and active. And you can go through and see everything that it's done. You can select them all if you want, however you want to do that. So basically what I'm saying here is that you can go and play with this. Now, here's what I did. When it first started happening, I was getting all excited. I was playing with it. Then I have leads coming up from UpNest, and we're getting a ton of leads coming in from that. When I say a ton, we're kind of getting 4 to 5 a week, right? Which is, people are starting to get more active now. I didn't have time to do all this. So guess what I did? I just did it with whatever it had. I didn't care, and I sent it out. Every single one of them asked me to come and do a listing presentation with them. One of them was really low, and he said, hey, this one's really low. We had another agent said that it's worth a lot more. I said, well, and this is how I throw agents under the bus. What do I say? Any agent can give any number they want. What I do is I come to your house and I take pictures and I do what's called a listing report. And I look at not only its CMA, but I look at its current condition and its potential to maximize value. And they all thought that was the coolest thing, that I would actually spend more time. There was one couple that I went just yesterday. They are getting divorced. She's looking for her own real estate agent and he's looking for his. You ever had that happen before? It sucks. But anyway, he told his wife, he's like, he was the only one that offered to actually come and look at the house and take pictures, and here's his information that he does. So they chose me to sell their house because she actually liked the other person, as a friend, I think it was, but they were convinced that we'll do a better job. Our team will do a better job. So this makes a big difference. So coming back here, if I hit continue, once you decide whatever you're going to decide on, it'll even show you, here's your final estimated price. This is the mid range. Remember I said it goes low, mid, high? Then it gives you the low range, and here's the high range. Here's the mid range right here. So it automatically does that, which I love. And then it even ties in commission. It'll even do net sheets for you. So it creates the net sheets, and you can decide if you've got information about buyer compensation that you're going to recommend. Right now, it leaves it at 0 because that's the new thing, unfortunately. Escrow, HOA dues, you can decide to put this in. You could even add other fields if there's other costs or something, just so they can have a net sheet. There's the comparable listings and how long it's been since, the days on market, if they're active. And then I go continue. Now look at what this looks like. I'm going to confirm this. So you're going to get this, but I confirm this. And then look at what this thing looks like. It is so cool. So it basically, it sends this as a digital file, and then you can also print it if you want to print it. But they get this as a digital file. And so this is what it looks like. Here's all of the properties that it recommends as being comparables. They actually can click on them and look at them, pictures and everything. So they can click on it and look at it from your website, that property looks like to compare. So the people that I talked to the other day and some throughout this week, they literally spent the time and they would tell me, this house is more like mine than that house. Do you think they want to have a say in all that? So this is how they engage and interact with that. So it goes through all these properties, Then it comes down here, estimated market value. Here's the low to high. And what do I tell them when we have low to high? I will give you recommendations on getting your house ready. That's what I specialize in. And this is how I tell them. And just a reminder for all of you, the way I talk to sellers is any agent can throw your house on the market. Is that not true? Any agent can throw any number out there that they want. Guess what agents don't control? The market. Someone could say your house is worth $5 million. They could say anything they want to get you to sign. This is what I tell them. So what I do is I get as much information about your property as I possibly can. And then I give you recommendations on how to maximize its value. We look at things like curb appeal. What are the other ones? Odor. Yeah, I do say that to them, by the way. Clutter and staging. And I show them examples with that single property website, which I did, had them put the Oculus goggles on. The combination of them seeing this, like literally this kind of presentation, this information they can go through. I can click on the homes that you said compare to mine, and I can decide if they're comparable or not. I give you a range and tell you that I can't compare this. I can't change this range. But what I can do is based on the way that I market your place and help you prepare it, I can get you towards the top of that range. Does that sound fair to say? And that's what sold them. And that's what I think sells everybody when I say that. Yes.
So question, it just pulled in that photo. That's not.
Yeah, it's not hers or anything. It's just,
Is it possible to?
you can change those photos if you want. And you know what? It's crazy. I've been so busy trying to put all this, like I haven't even thought about that. You can change it. Not one person has said anything about it.
Oh.
Like they didn't say, oh, that looks like some, I don't know, complex in Chicago, or, they don't say any of that. What they're looking at is what do they care most about? They see me, and then they see these properties, and they see these properties, and then they see these numbers. They probably don't even notice that right there, right? They're like, wait a second, 1.3 million. I think it's worth 1.1. I'm like, well, I don't say any reason why it can't be, because that's what we're looking at, right, in terms of your range. But the way your home shows and the way it's advertised is the difference. And that's what I'm going to show you in a second is how you can advertise using the system. You've all been through my classes, hopefully, but and this is what I tell them. Most agents will throw you up on the MLS and, the affiliates, Zillow, Realtor.com. They'll have someone take pictures of your house, and then they're done. And then they wait. That's why they're getting the lower numbers. I tell them that. That's why they get the lower numbers. I sell homes faster and for more money because we use 3D technology, right? I've already had them see the goggles so they know what that's like. And then we do these ads all on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube on top of all that. And then you know what they ask me? Every single time, how much more do you charge for all that? And then I tell them we don't. It's part of what we do. And like the deal's closed at that point. Does that make sense? That's what you're doing. But how do we deliver on that? That's the biggest deal. I know in my classes, I get people excited about it. And then they're like, now I got to figure out how to do all this stuff. Wait till I show you how you start advertising it. But here's the total selling expenses. People want to know, what's the net proceeds that I'm going to make from it? This creates your net proceeds, your net sheet, right? And you can even do multiple net sheets. And then it says, thank you. And then it says, get started with the listing agreement, learn more about the selling timeline. This is so streamlined now. It's crazy how fast and easy it is. So you don't have to prepare all this stuff yourself. Okay. Any questions about this so far? No? Hopefully it's exciting about how easy that is. I was able to send that CMA. Then it even goes into, okay, now they're signed. Now I got to create the transaction. It actually starts building that transaction. I'm not going to go through that with you today. We'll do that another time. Yes.
I like kind of the concept of building my brand as far as a high-end, full-service listing agent.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that's what you're preaching as well. What if you get a lead coming in and saying, oh, Mike, I really like you, and I like what you say and all these things that you'll do, but I'll just take some photos, and will you list my property for a discount?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe you don't even want to touch that. I mean, that's not your interest. Your style is when you go to the MLS, you have a full, picture listing and everything is great and you charge for it. You're not interested. Okay, well, maybe that's the next agent. You can talk to someone else.
So I don't want to answer that question for you because you're going to have to decide. My hope is that you get so busy working with the clients that want you to do the full package that you can easily just say, that's not what I do, right? That's why I said there's a difference between Nordstrom's and Walmart. If you want to shop at Walmart, great, but I'm not your Walmart. I'm a Nordstrom's, if you think of it that way. But for now, I know agents that aren't doing a lot of business, you're trying to take whatever you can get, and I'm not saying that about you. I'm just saying that in general, agents are thinking about, I am willing to do whatever I can. And you want to be flexible, but at the same time, your brand starts to get diminished from that a little bit. So my hope is that what you're doing here, and as you start to build the momentum of your offering, as you put stuff out there and sell it, that you can say no to those people if that's what you want to do, and do the whole package and build that brand around it. So again, but I don't want to answer that for you. Everyone's in different places. You have family and friends that want discounted. You have people that just have no money. Like the house that I sold in Eagle Mountain, they lost money on, by the way. They bought the house 4 months ago, brand new from the builder, and then they live in Colorado, and then they didn't transfer over here. So they are literally going to lose money. So just to give you an idea of what that means, if someone's in the mindset of, I can't pay $2,000 for staging, and I don't want to do all these extra things, I just want to find a discount listing. What I was able to convince them of, and again, I don't feel this as a sales message, only because I'm also someone that cares about the people that I serve. I want them to be people I serve. I give them choices, but I did tell them, I can help you get the most money for your home and help sell it more quickly once it goes on the market than if you go with the discount service provider. And I truly believe that. And it worked out that way. They got $490 for their house without any concessions, and it was under contract in 4 days. And it's selling in like 2 weeks, like less than 2 weeks. Well, it was like almost 2 weeks, I think, is what it came down to. And you know what? Even though they're losing money, they are like, I got tons of texts from them. Thank you so much. This is so incredible. I can't believe it sold so fast. We're so excited, things like that. Now they're in a situation that was unfortunate. They're losing money on the house, but they knew they were going to. But what I helped them to do is sell their home better than otherwise. Does that make sense? So I'm just saying that people that just want a cheap, service, and they want to pay very little for it, do they still suffer in terms of the way their home is listed? How long do those homes sit on the market when they just have some pictures and no staging and all that kind of stuff? So I showed them what I do. They bought into it, and I delivered. And that's what I do. And they're going to give me, I'm assuming, a great review from all the things that they said. But you can't make everybody happy. And if someone doesn't want all those things, they have to make a choice, right? Okay, now.
Mike, we got a couple questions
Yeah.
online. I'm trying to decipher through some of them.
Okay.
Some have already been answered, but Mark has a question on the home report.
Yeah.
You see the questions. Is there a way to manually create a home report and we add the info to that landing page, or is it,
It's set.
Okay.
It is set. Yeah, that home report is set. When I first found out about that, Mark, I was like, oh, I do have a little bit of flexibility with like HomeBot, where I can actually go in there and change the estimate and things like that. And I was like, oh, I want that. We've even talked to Lofty about maybe making that an effort. I will say that since we've been doing this, I haven't had any, but I've had a couple of people say that seems a little bit low. But then the cool thing is I tell them, yeah, that's just taking it from public record data. Right. So when you're ready to sell and I can come in there and look at that property and tell you what it has, I actually had 2 invitations to go to homes to give them a better estimate because they're ready to sell than what the home report said the house was worth. So I didn't lose out because it wasn't adjustable, but I do get it, Mark. And we're going to look at see if we can get that there so that we can do what you can do with HomeBot to readjust it.
And then Alyssa has a question on where do we add the lenders?
Oh, I will have, just so we don't get into the minutia of all those things, I'll make sure that Braden puts out those kind of details on how to do that. It's really super easy to do it. I did it with Dave, and I can't even remember where it is offhand, and I don't want to go look for it right now. Yes.
Say 2 things. One, for the home report is not a quote. The home report is a method to communicate. Do not view it as a quote. It's only meant to create the engagement.
Yeah.
So that you have a reason to say, you know what, it may not be great, but that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. But it would be nice if you're going to send it every single month and they're relying on your expertise. They're like, let's say the public record shows that it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but they finished out the basement.
But you get engagement. You're doing exactly
I know.
what I'm saying. That's exactly what
I get it. I think both. I would rather have the ability to update information if it's not public. So I get that with Mark, and I would want to do that too. So we'll look at that. Any other questions that came up?
Yeah, there's two more.
Okay.
Kenny's raising his hand.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Mike, will this allow you, because some houses, especially out where I'm at, are in one county, but the zip code's in another county? So if you do, like the area I'm in right now, it'll show Weber County dropped the house down about $60,000 in price, but it's actually in Davis County, which will actually raise the price. Is there a way?
Yeah. It doesn't, just like, and even HomeBot has, there's always going to be these homes that are in these weird situations where the public record data is not supportive or helpful. It even goes the other way where you'll get a house that shows worth a whole lot more than it really should be worth because of whatever that public record data is showing. So, and again, in those situations, I might still send a home report if it's there and then just inform that person as I have my regular conversations with them about the discrepancies that might be there. I love these market reports where it's just a generic report for the whole market overall, for those that are just wanting to keep in touch with what their market's like when they sell 6-7 months down the road. But that's a good question, Kenny. Unfortunately, we don't have, even HomeBot doesn't have the way to change something like that where it's in the wrong county. And because of that, the value is very different because Davis County, of course, is going to show at a higher value. What's another question?
Sid has a question.
What's up, Sid?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? So my question is, on this CMA report you've got here, if you look at the very end results there, there's a lot of information here I might change, or could I add pages to that report to improve it a little bit?
Okay, yeah, let me go back to the CMA reports here. That I had that pulled up. I'll just go back here. Okay, so we build the CMAs and then you can customize reports. So when you go to customize the report here, do you see here, I can edit any part of these pages. Any one of these pages I can edit.
Okay.
So I just hit the edit button right here. And then here's all the information that I can edit. It's pulling this information, of course, for me from my bio. But if I want to change that, I can do that. Or let's say that I go to, you can even do a different template. Oops, customize report. So any one of these pages, you can update the kind of the page. Now, of course, the map of the comparables, that's done in that one section where you select the homes. You're not going to update those there. Does that make sense?
Well,
so you're not
when I was messing with mine just a minute ago, it pulled up some map of Africa and some other homes that I didn't have on there, $1 million homes when I was looking at it. So it didn't necessarily populate over what I had selected. Does that make sense? Oh,
yeah, I've never seen that. I've only seen it populate. So if I go here to continue, for example, and I hit adjust comps, it's only going to show the comps I select. And that's
on your report. Yeah, mine, it didn't do
that.
It showed Africa. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that. So let's go offline. I'll let Braden, if you could follow up with Sid on that.
Yeah.
But that's nothing I've ever seen. I've done probably about 15 of these now since we started this, and I haven't seen that. So we'll have to look at that.
Mark said he had the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Africa showed up? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So this is where
I'd love to be in Africa selling homes. That'd be great.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It depends on where in Africa. But here, like when you select, you can do radius, you can do neighborhood, or you can draw a polygon, right?
Yeah.
You can do any of these things. It should only pull up properties that are active to recently sold and you can even go here to apply filter. You can even specify like on the sold dates, or all the different content that you want to make sure, like if they have a really unique home that has a swimming pool and you only want to compare it to others like that, or whatever it might be, you have a bunch of options here for that. But once you designate which homes it's going to show, like I'm doing here, it should only show on the report those homes that you selected. It won't even show homes that are on here that aren't selected. Okay. So make sure you go back to the selected properties, and you can do a 5 mile radius or whatever, like this one is here. and there's all the properties. See all these that are gray? Those are non-selected. And then the ones in orange are selected properties, or green, depending on if they're pending or if they're active. So it should only show those.
Okay.
Okay.
Alyssa has a question.
Hey, Alyssa.
Hi there. On the market report, so the one that's like HomeBot, and then also the just the general market report, can you select the dates that those go out? Because I could see if I'm setting up a new contact, that if I'm setting all this up, I wouldn't want those reports, if they go out once a month, to go out on the same date. And also I have other things that I send to my clients. Like I send something in the mail that goes out usually around the 15th or 20th. And I would kind of want to space it out so they're hearing from me or seeing from me at different times of the month.
That is a great question. Unfortunately, the only option that the market report has is how often you want to send it out, and then if you want to send it out immediately. Because the system is set up for there's noise. Because the system's set up for batching the messages that go out, it kind of randomly does it. So I'll have Braden look into that, where you could actually say, I want, like when you do your social studio and you designate when you want something to send out on social media, it does have that option. But with these, I don't think it does. But I'll see if there's any way that that can be added. I do know that the one toggle that you do have is, do I send it immediately or not? If you say, if it's not set to send immediately, it waits till a new cycle to send it out. But I don't think you have the choice to decide. Let me see. I'll try this. I'll try a market report. I'm gonna have to go to another leak because I already did hers, or I can delete this. I'll delete it. Okay, I'm gonna go new report on a market report. I can decide when it goes out, monthly, semi-annually. I can preview it. Oh, it's been sent to my email. Oh, on this one, on the market report, it doesn't even give me the option to just send it out. Did you get the market report?
Yeah.
You did. So it did send it out immediately.
It sends it immediately.
Yeah.
Every month from that date.
Market snapshot. This is where you can actually set up a snapshot based on a very specific area. I have not used this because I want to understand it more before I do. So I want to get into that. The seller report is for that particular property that they might be interested in. Oops. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Thanks, Alyssa, for asking, and I'll have to check on that. Now, you do know when you have any of these reports here, you can pause them, and then you can send it an email directly for that. So they do have that option, and then here's where you can see it. It's what it looks like. But I don't see any option for deciding when it goes out, so I apologize.
And then one last question. Mark's got his hand raised.
Okay, what's up, Mark?
I was just going to add on to the home report. If we can design our own landing pages for those, I've tried to run about 20 of those, and I would say probably 5 or 6 of them are not registering an address. So I don't know if Braden could show us a video for how you got around that. I might just be inputting addresses incorrectly, but if we could do like a landing page or something like that that's similar to the market report, just in the interim, or the home report, that would be huge. Is that an option that we can work on?
Well, the home report is specific to their property, right? That's what the home report is. It's like the HomeBot report. So I don't imagine that you would create a landing page for that because you wouldn't be pulling in the data that's needed for that report. So
is that an integration with HomeBot, or is that completely separate that Lofty does it?
It's a separate one, but it's just like HomeBot. It's a complete integration with their system. That's why we like it here, because if they interact with this, anything that happens here, I don't have to go in and log into HomeBot in order to see that information. It's right here. But the only thing that we found when it doesn't find the property is I'll just take the address that person provided me, and then, like I said, I put it into Google Maps and see if it changed it. There's many times where, someone might have said 2374 East Snow Mountain Drive or Snow Mountain Street, or they change it in some way. So I find out what the way Google Maps looks at it, and usually the Google Map version is the one that they need to see to find that address. So try that first.
Okay. I just tried that on a couple of them and I didn't get a
And it
change.
still didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I would say, yeah, and there's about 10%. Whoops, I moved it. There's about 10% I found in the ones that I've been doing that actually they're not able to find. So,
all right.
sorry about that.
And then
Okay.
no worries. My other question was just on those smart plans. I know that we've got 3 different organizations on the smart plans. You have the personal ones that I can build, and then the office ones, and then the company ones. I wondered if we could get access to the ones that you've built so we can automatically implement those.
Yes, you will as soon as we're done. That's the goal of this. And the nice thing that I like about that setup is that you then have a choice to create your own, use ours, right? Between those two. And then if we create them and they're available to you, you can implement the ones you want and ones you may not want. But those will be available once we're done. If you, hey, Braden, will you send me that chart that you guys have created? I'll show you before the end of the class the organization of this. It's crazy cool. But you send me that and I'll show it to them at the end.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, the journey chart. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And then for Jeff and Braden, that address I threw in is my personal address. So if you want to use that, just throw it under my name and let me know what else you need from me. So
Yeah, see if you can find that.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
Just hit me another email.
I know because I deleted it and then I sent you a new one. Yeah. So sorry. Sorry. Yeah. 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 It did get it right away. Yeah. 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 I mean, I do want to emphasize our goal is to provide relevant, important, helpful information. If the information is not relevant or important because it's in the wrong county, like, like was said, or something that just isn't accurate, I do understand why you would want to be able to update that. And I'll look to see what we can do at that level. We've been talking to them about that. But anyway, nonetheless, I love how I can immediately go in there, create these engagement options, and then see on the activities, oh, Mary opened it, or she might respond to it. I don't want to show, I was told I can't show these to you because these are real people and we're recording this. But I just, so you know, I've got people that I put in as contacts or came in through the leads that we have from UpNest. And literally I've got 60 different communications. They're interacting with the AI and they're talking, they opened it or they're asking a question and say, hey, this report said this, what does that mean? Or is this, accurate or something like that? It gives me an opportunity to engage with that person and talk to them. And it's been huge because before none of that was happening. Okay. Now, I wanted to show you then how to do the advertising. So let's say, step one, you've gone in here and you've added a seller, right? So they're a seller lead. Step two, you add their property, right? So you have their property. Then you do these engagements. Market report and home report are the two big ones. Then if you talk to them, a lot of times I'll wait on the CMA report and see what I get. But in a couple of situations, I wasn't getting any. I saw that they opened it, but I tried to reach out to them. I tried to call them and they didn't answer. Then I sent them a CMA and then I got a response. That CMA is a really professional looking document. And that's when this guy that I met with yesterday, he responded with that one and said, hey, I got your report. I looked at some of those properties, which was really cool. This one is more like mine than that one. And mine has this. He was starting to kind of explain to me where I got it wrong, right, in the report that was there. And I was like, great. It would be better for me to come and look at your house. And then he invited me yesterday to go look at his house. So that is the kind of interaction and engagement I'm trying to get, right? Isn't that what you want? So that's how it worked well for me. So the next thing is you can send in that CMA after you've sent in the home report, and then you can watch how they engage. Now you go there, he signed. So he's like, okay, we're going to do it. We're waiting for his wife actually to sign. He signed, but his wife hasn't yet. They're getting a divorce. And they won't even meet together. I have to meet with them. It's just, sad thing. I know. Yeah. It's just, yeah. So anyway, but it's kind of cool to see all the interaction engagement. So now I've showed them what I can do and I've got to deliver on that, right? So whenever you're going to do a landing page, let me show you where that is. So I'm going to go to my marketing page now. And let's say they're ready to go forward and I got to create a single property website, right? it'll create automatically without you having to do anything. Of course, once it's up on the MLS, that page. So if I go, I'm going to go now back to that home that I listed. So I'm going to kind of shift back and forth now with that story, I guess. Here's what it creates on my page as soon as I put it up on the MLS. This happened instantly, right? As soon as I put it up on the MLS, I think it was within 15 minutes. I guess not instant, but within about 15 minutes, it's on my website. Maybe it was 10 minutes. I can't remember because I remember just going back and there it is. So on these pages, obviously they can look through the pictures, but the video shows right up at the top. So now you get the video. The cool thing too is it actually pushes it to YouTube because I put the YouTube link in there. What's cool about that is now it's my SEO, my YouTube, views and stuff like that are increasing with my property. So you want that as well. So I'm not uploading the video to it. And then you've got all the pictures. I didn't have time to do a 3D tour. I'm so sorry. I hate that. But I was planning on going there and do the 3D tour with my own camera because I was trying to do it all myself. We got so many showings and offerings on it. And with what happened with my brother, I just never got around to it. So usually that would be up here too. So apologize that virtual tour isn't there, but it does show up with the video. This was all pulled, by the way, from the MLS. I did not have to do this at all. This is on my website on search.homes. Yours would be your name.search.homes or whatever. And then of course it shows here, request a tour. So I'm gathering leads. I probably had 15 or so people contact me directly via text, calls, and this right here because they wanted to see the house. There are people out there shopping without agents. You all know that, unfortunately, but they are. They're not really good at wanting to sign with you, but if they want that house, they're more than happy to do a double-ended, deal. So here's all this. It actually shows, here's the elementary schools and the middle schools, showing the schools there. I wonder why it's not showing the high school anyway. But anyway, it automatically pulled in that information, coming from what we put up there. It shows that, that I listed it on the 7th and it's under contract on the 11th. That was crazy. Huh? So here's information if they want to subscribe to market updates. I had 2 people subscribe to market updates from this. And then here's other listings and stuff. But obviously the coolest part of that is they can request a tour. Okay. This is done without you doing anything. The link to the virtual tour is up here as well as when I start looking into the pictures. If I had a 3D tour, it would actually be right here in this middle screen. Okay, this is automatically done on your website from the MLS. Now, I want to advertise this. So here are my options to advertise it. This is where this gets really cool. Here's what I'm going to recommend. If you feel like you're not a tech savvy, I don't want to spend a lot of time advertising, this is only a $500,000 or $400,000 house, click Listing Blast. Well, this is so cool. Here you go. You click Listing Blast. I did this for this property. So I'll show you. Well, I'll just show you. Promote listing. Your listing will show up, right? It'll show up right here. So let's say you want to promote this listing. You tell it how much you want to spend, and then you hit checkout, and you're done. That is it. And you know what this does? Because you've already set it up. It's with your social studio. It automatically, it won't publish this because this is an ad. It does not publish this to your social media pages because I hope you know the difference. You can post and boost a post, or you can just advertise. And when you just advertise like this, it's just going to advertise for you. And so all the ads that you promised that you'd give them, and it gives you reports on it and everything, you just hit checkout and you're done. You tell it how much money you want to spend, and it goes on Facebook and Instagram for you. And then if you have video, it'll even put it on YouTube. Is that not cool? And that's it. That's all you have to do to fulfill your advertisement of putting it up on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Where does it give you the report about how many views?
Yeah, I did this on one. I didn't do it on that other property because I went through the whole thing, but I spent $106. I got 1,114 impressions, 48 clicks, and a 4.31% click-through rate because I got 4 leads from this myself. These leads came directly to me. So these leads came here, not to mention other people that looked at it and told their agent about it or whatever like that, right? So that's where it gives you that. And I thought there was a report that did this, pending completed. Maybe that's the report right here. I know there's a place, and I'll find it in just a second.
Click on the address itself.
I did, and it just went to that. Oh, no, it does do this. Here it is. This is where it is. So here's the ad preview. So there's the ad that went out. Let me go to ad. Yeah. So here's the ad that went out for me. Right.
Generated by AI.
Huh?
As far as the text generated by
AI. Everything's generated by the system, by AI. So it all went there. New listing now available. Be the first to check out your new dream home. You know, that kind of stuff. Again, I'm going through 3 different levels of this. This is like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do all the things that Mike said as far as a hook and a call to action. Just let the system do it. I'll pay $100. I want to commit to my client what I said I would do, and I'm doing it. And it's with a few clicks of the mouse. And then if you want to promote the open house, you can do different types of promotions. I didn't do this as an open house because we didn't have it, but you can even do a pending, just listed, just closed, or just sold ad if you want to, and just pay the money and it does it for you. And then you can get all the stats that come from it as well. Okay. Here's the leads that came through. So David Davidson, Zolius, she was actually not interested. She said it was an accident, I think. So that wasn't a good lead. But David Davidson and Hunter Harris, one, I can't remember which one. Oh, and then Seraphine. All 3 of those are interested in that property. One has an agent, the other 2 don't. So I'm talking back and forth with them. I don't know how serious they are, but you know how leads are. So that's what they came in. But these are my leads. These aren't leads that, like, you know, not to mention all the other people that might look at it. Since I put this ad out, we've had probably about 8 or 9 showings at the property that were directly related to the ad. Yes.
When it says impressions, you got 1,114. What's an impression? That means they looked at it?
Yeah. And it based on social media, if it's a video, because it actually puts out, if you had video, it puts out the video and it puts out picture. They have to, an impression means that they saw it or they watched the video for at least 3 seconds. That's all it means. Yeah. Yes.
So do you think it's better the automated way or you going in and doing it manually?
It's better if you do more ads. Like I do the 5 or 6 ads on a property and I put it to a landing page. I wanted them to come to my new unique landing page. That's better. But honestly, I did this on this one and I think the client probably wouldn't have really known the difference. I'm still delivering on the promise. You get busy enough, I think this works fine, right? But yes, I'm going to get a higher impression rate. Like this is only on one ad that went out, right? Because I paid the $100. I only paid $100. Usually I'm paying between 300 and 400 or something like that. And I'm doing 5 or 6 ads. Whereas this one, I just did the 1, but this is still pretty good. You get,
this was 3 clicks versus going to the outside of the system, going into your Facebook, doing around your own.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I got 48 clicks on it. That means 1,000 people saw it, but 48 actually clicked on it. And then 4 people sent me their information. Like if I go in here, I can go in here and he looked at here's all the engagements. Look at all that stuff that we're going through. And he's now in my database. So it came directly into my database. I'll close that really fast because he's a real person with real information. But yeah, he came right in. So I'll go here to Seraphine, you know. So now she's in my database and look at all the communications that are going back and forth with her about that property, right? So, okay. I did it fast. So sorry. They're telling me that I have too much personal information that's going on for people and stuff like that. But this is the fast and easy way to do it. So I wanted to show you this first, because if you get a new listing and you went to them and you said,
oh, we've got a question, a raised hand.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Who is it?
Denise.
Hi. Hey, real quick. So once they start engaging, does AI put them in there as a contact, as a buyer lead, so they get on Drip Campaign, or do you need to go in and create that manually?
No, it automatically puts them, not only does it put them as a buyer lead, but I wish I could show you. You won't let me. Okay. Not only does it put it in as a buyer lead and it puts in their information, it even shows which property they're interested in. And then I have an option to send them between, it actually did it automatically. And I don't know how it found out the information or how AI decided. It put in a property alert for $200,000 to $500,000 in Park City in that area that it was in. So it actually started sending out property alerts. So now those people are starting to look at other properties based on the property alert, not just that one that they were looking at.
Nice. And then can they go in and customize their filters or?
Yeah, you can do everything. And once they're in there, you do everything that you can see that you can do there with the contact.
Does it allow them to, once they start getting these reports, can they go in and tweak it, or do you need to do it?
You mean as far as their property report goes? I guess they
Yeah,
can,
as
because
what
this is
they're
how they would
looking
do that. Yeah. So let's say, for example, that property, I'll go to where that property is. Oh, not the CRM, sorry.
I was just thinking, because that's a big swing in price range. I didn't know if they could go in and like, okay, this is what we're looking more specifically for, or if AI kind of,
Yeah, no, I get
You
you.
know,
So let's say they come here and then they come into that property, which is this one right here. So here's the property. Notice the Matterport's right here in the middle now, because when there's a Matterport, it's right here in the middle. This guy, I hate to say it because he had to drop it. He's had 15 offers on his property. 15 over the last year. He's been on for a long time, and he keeps turning them down. And every time winter comes and he makes a whole lot of money on his rental, because it's a short-term rental, he doesn't want to sell. He wants more money. And then it comes to the spring and summer, and then nobody wants. Anyway, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah. So yeah. So now he's dropped it by 19,000, and he could have sold it. He had an offer for 360 last year. It's crazy. Anyway, so if they come in here and they want to see it, they can do this, but they can also save searches and do a search on their own. Once they're in the database, what happens once someone's in the database? Anybody remember? It logs everything. They look at properties. It'll give you the average price point. It'll give you all that stuff. So yes, they can save a search to create a new property alert. That's what a property alert is basically a saved search, right? Or that you can, based on what they're doing, create a new alert or adjust the alert that's already there. Does that answer your question? That's how it's done. So they're not going to go into like a back end and say, oh, here's an alert that says 2 to 500. I want to change that to 350 to 400 or whatever. You would have to do that after you have a conversation with them, but they can always create and save a search that will then save it as a property alert.
nice.
Or you do that. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, any other questions? Okay, so what I want to show you now is that once I'm in my marketing, so if I go over here, I have that listing blast. So that's one option. The other thing I can do is I can go to landing pages. So I'm going to go here to landing pages, and I want to feature a listing. This is what creates your single property website if you want to make it a little cooler. Okay, so I'm going to show you that right now if you want to do this. So the question is, what's better? To me, this is better. Okay, so if I go over here to a featured listing. Now, I already created one, but it's really easy. I just go to featured listing. Then you have to, put the address in. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Here's the one I did for Park City. Is this a little better than that page that just shows? So here's what the other page looks like. Let me go in here. So here's what it looks like on my website. And basically, when you go to any MLS driven page, you have these smaller pictures. It's kind of cool that it shows the Matterport here. It has this information. So they're both good. I like both of them for different reasons. But this is what it looks like when I create a single property website. And this is what I show them. You're going to get the whole top of the website is going to just show your website. I mean, your listing, your picture, sorry. And then they come down here. If there's an open house, it would show up underneath here that there's an open house. Here's the description. Here's the virtual tour. So here's my virtual tour in this big photo right here. So this is where you get this part of it, right? Okay. And then, whoops, sorry. Do I X out of this? Open up a new page. I'm getting lost. Where is my... Did I put it over here? Oh, nope. I'm on my virtual. Sorry, I hate when I do this. Let me go back here. There we go. Okay. Here's the gallery of images. And then, I thought I put the 360 video in here. You can add, so let's say I wanted to add the 360 video. I actually forgot to add it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But this is what it looks like on a single property website. See how it's it got bigger pictures. When I show my clients what I give them as a single property website, I show them this. Okay, so this is what you can do to do a single property website. Now, once you have one of these, I can go in to edit that single property website. You can see that since I created this not too long ago, right? So about 4 or 5 days ago, I've had 69 views of it. and interactions with it here, and it'll show you what they did and stuff like that. But if I come over here to edit, oh, sorry, that's not edit. That's to actually put an ad out. That's what I'm going to show you next. Sorry, I'm going to edit it. Come on. Here we go. If I want to edit it, it pulls up the page like this. And there's that big image up here. I can edit each one of these boxes here. I can decide which pictures it shows. So if it takes the first 4 or 5 pictures in this, you know, this sliding banner, I can decide what pictures it shows, right? If you want to change that. I can come in here and see how it has the virtual tour, but it doesn't have my 360 tour. So I can come over here and edit this, and then I can add more tours. I can add more YouTube tours. So if I come up, I'll do that right now. I'm going to go to my YouTube page. And we'll go to the Torrendo one. And there's the Park City. This is the one I want to show. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit share. And then I'm going to copy this link. Okay. Then I'm going to come back over here to, I got too many tabs open, to this one right here. I'm going to add a video. So here it's a virtual tour video, and you can do it under virtual tour or video. I'm actually going to add this as a virtual. Oh, I'll put it up here. Doesn't really matter. And there it shows up right here. So now I have that video, and I can change the order that it goes in. Here, let me publish this and I'll go back. And then I can boost it from here. As soon as you publish it, it'll give you an option to do that right away, which you can do. And then now I want to go back and look at it. Let's just send it. And here's a look at it. So here's that virtual tour. And remember this virtual tour? This is the 360 one. And there's my 360 video, all big on that website. Isn't that cool? Do that. Or you can pause it, and then you can still look around. So I put my 360. So when I go and do my presentations, or when I deliver and I do the 360 video and I show them this, obviously you don't have to do all this if you don't want to. I do it because it garners more respect, gets more deals, and I kind of think it's fun anyway. But it's about, I think if you get the whole like kit and everything, it was about $500. But it's, I think the camera itself is like $300. But with everything, with the extra battery and all that kind of stuff. But I will tell you that when I do a presentation, I bring the 360 camera and I bring the Oculus goggles. When I show them that I do that, and they ask me how much more do you charge for this in the page, I've got the deal, because no one does it and I don't charge more for it. And if you get more deals, the problem that I'm facing right now that I'm going to have to maybe help, you guys are going to help me, is I'm getting too many leads in and I don't have time. So I'm going to have to share some leads here because he's too busy. What was that? It's the Insta360. Insta360. And you can buy it right off of our website at captivateagent.com. If you go to captivateagent.com and you go to gear we use, have you seen that? Here, I'll show you. So you go to captivateagent.com. Did you start playing with it? It's fun. I love that camera. But again, I don't want to overwhelm anybody. If you're like, I don't want to do all this stuff, I don't want to make this. Uh-oh, something's going on with their website showing up weird. Why is our website showing up all weird? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. It's not supposed to look like. Anyway, if you go to gear we use at captivateagent.com, here's the Insta360 X4. Here's the X3. The X4, I guess, is really, I only have the X3.
I've got the X4.
He has X4. There's a difference.
The difference is that it's going to go up to 8K res.
Yeah.
That's the biggest jump. I mean,
Yeah.
the X3 does just as good as the X4.
But I will say that the difference between, and it's even loading slow, but the difference between the Meta 3 and the Meta 2 is huge. That's big. Huh?
Wouldn't the 8K versus 4K be obsolete in it?
Exactly, because once you upload it, it's going to downsample it. Yeah. So, but the MetaQuest, because those are the goggles you take, the MetaQuest 3s are crazy good. Yeah, so those are worth that too, if you're going to bring those. But anyway, getting diverted here. So step one in this advertising, just go to Listing Blast. If you right now are like, maybe sometime in the future, I'll figure out how to do all the rest. Go to Listing Blast and just do a Listing Blast. Your clients will be excited. You'll get leads from it. It'll do everything I've taught you how to do, and it'll deliver on your promises. Just do the Listing Blast. If you want to go to the next level, let's say you get $1 million property, or you want to take the time, then you can create a single property website, right? And I showed you what that looks like. Then once you have a single property website, you can go in here and do your ads for in Social Studio. So in Social Studio, you can create your posts like you do, and which I recommend you do because it goes on your page. And once you create your post, you can do your post to your here's landing page right here. You can just select landing page and then select that landing page you created. Or once you create the landing page, it says, do you want to boost this or do you want to post it? Then you can just say yes there. You can do it in either one of those places. Does that make sense? So I want to make it easy for you to figure out how to do that. You can do that on top of the Listing Blast. Let's say on the Listing Blast, you only did $100, but it's a really nice big home and you want to do more. Come in here and do the landing page. Does that make sense? So if I click on this and I go to landing page, oh, here's my Park City landing page. Next, then I'm right here, like I showed you before. Here's where you can go in and highlight this information that's not a good hook and call to action. You can even write your bullet points. You can have it rephrase or generate. So I can hit rephrase, and then it's going to, check out the photos and details for this. Don't miss the opportunity to own this sought after property. But you may have another hook and call to action, right? Like, for example, you could say Airbnb opportunity and own in the Canyons Resort of Park City for only $350,000, right? I mean, you don't have to be fancy about what you say. Something as easy as that. Then you can highlight this and then hit generate. Unlock an opportunity in the stunning Canyons Resort of Park City. Own your slice of paradise for $350,000. It just made what you said just a little better, right? If you like it. And then you can just, delete that. It's up there. It redid it for you. And here, you're going to replace the image or the preview with images if you want to do that. It's showing you right now that Instagram doesn't have that image. So you can put video or image here if you want to. So I can add a different video or image that you can put in there, and then you post it now or edit it for later. You have options, but don't overwhelm yourself with it. Just post it out there. Once you do, you can boost it. And then you can have 5 ads, like I said before. But now instead of going into Facebook, trying to do it there, picking out your audience and doing all that, you can do it all right here, like I showed you before. Super easy to do. That help? Make sense? I didn't want to rehash that because I've already shown you how to do it. And there's a video out there. Did you do the boosting one yet?
The boosting video? I think so. I need to double check.
Okay. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's up there. If it's not, it will be up there. But it's basically where you can take any post and you can boost it. It's really easy though. So if I hit create a post and I do it from the landing page, here's my landing page, go next. And then after I've done all that, it'll give you the option once you've posted it to boost it. So it shows up like this and this, and it says right here, I can boost it.
So I have it for posting. I don't have the boosting video.
Okay, so do that one. So this one, I just posted it, 20 views, 42 engagements with it. 42. What's that? I'm going to go to the stats on that because you usually see it flipped. But I'm going to hit this. I can decide how much I want to spend. It's going to show me what the ad looks like. So it automatically put pictures in there, automatically did this. It created from, whatever I had typed in there. And then all I have to do is hit what my budget is and then the duration, and that's it. That's all you have to do to boost your ad. So I could say, I'm going to do this for whatever time period, maybe it's that time period right here. So they've got it from here to, I don't know, let's say for a week or something like that. I want to spend $50 on it. You can spend whatever amount you want. It's going to go out on my real estate and my Instagram page like that. And then it's already got my credit card in there, and then I can boost it. and I can choose your custom target or select existing leads, or you'd be selecting leads. Here's, you're going to do an area, and I'm going to choose Park City. Oops. Within a 15-mile radius. And then hit save, and then I can boost it. That's all you have to do. Did everyone get that? That's how easy it is. So I can do this with as many posts I want. So if you're going to do 6 posts, what are the 6 posts that I recommend you put out there? Pictures, the single property website, the open house, the 3D tour, and your video home tour if you do one. If you only do 2, then you do 2. If you do 4 or 5, whatever you want to do. If you do a video, then it'll also post it to YouTube. That's it. That's all you have to do now. So remember those days where I told you to read my book and follow all those, those steps and do your 5 posts and then go into Facebook, all that. Now, all you are going to do is go to your marketing page here. Easiest thing is hit listing blast, and literally within a minute, you've got your post out there. Just let the system do it for you. If you want to do more ads, do the 5 ads. Then you go in here, create your landing page, right? I showed you how to do that. Then you can boost the landing page, and then you go to Social Studio and you put in like if I put a new post here and I do a custom post, I can come over here to any of my videos. I can add the video. I can add the Matterport. So let's go to the Matterport on that one, and I'll show you where that is. Or you'll get the Matterport from someone, or you do your list, your page. You can even do this page here. I'm just going to pull a link, so you get the Matterport from your actual from your photographer. So I put it in there. There's the link that's right there. Right now, because I have it posted to YouTube, it can't do that. And then I can add my pictures, and there you go. No longer do you have to go through all those steps. So what I wanted you to see today is, one, under where your people are, anybody that's a homeowner you should have in here. Everybody that you know that's a homeowner should be in here. Any lead sources that come in as seller leads, your goal is to get them engaged through market reports, and if you can, hopefully a home report. Those 2 things, and then the CMA. Those are the 3 ways to get them to think about what their house is worth and what it would mean to actually sell with you. Once you get the appointment, then you're going to do your $20,000 listing presentation, bring your goggles to show your single property website example, and get the deal signed. Once the deal's signed and you go through the process of getting the pictures and everything done for the house, then you come over here to marketing and you do your listing blast. Simplest and easiest way to do it. If you want to go beyond it, create a single property website and then post it to Social Studio with your other videos and other, links and stuff, and then boost those if you want, and you're done. Yes.
Hey, Mike, on the listing blast, Alyssa has a question. Can you customize the description of the blast?
The listing blast is really made for anybody that just doesn't want to bother with anything. They hit promote listing. It will actually it'll find your listing, right? And you'll click on that listing, and then you hit checkout, and then it'll give you, it just basically explains like your agreement that you have. You can read through it if you want to. You agree to that, and then it does it for you. Basically, it's like hiring a marketing person to advertise your listing for you. That's all it is. I wanted you to have that option so that you don't have to do anything else. The nice thing is it does it to Facebook and Instagram and YouTube for you, so you can keep your commitment to your client.
That's one ad. So it's better for us to do more.
Well, again, exactly. To me, if you're at the point in this training and in this course where you're like, I just don't have the time and the know-how, and this is a good place for me to start, that's where I'd have you start. The second option is you can follow what I teach, and we'll have the tutorial videos that are up there. You're going to create your landing page first. Sorry, you create your landing page for your property, because remember, every good ad has what? A landing page. The other thing does it for you. It creates your ad and the landing page for you, right? This one right here, you create the landing page and then you create the ads and then you're doing it, but you have more control over what it says and everything. Can you get leads from both? Yeah, right here. This is the one where I just hit promote listing and I just did the listing blast. 1,114 impressions, 48 clicks, 4 engaged leads, 3 new leads, I guess. I don't know, I said 3, there's 4 leads in there. And then it's telling me it cost me $23 per lead. That's for me, my benefit, right? That doesn't mean all the other people that got to see it. Okay. So that it worked. I don't want you to think this doesn't work well. It works well. But yes, if you want to take the extra step, I would create the landing page, then go to Social Studio, post it on your site, and then boost it. Okay. Now, once you have this boosted and you've got people coming to see you're advertising for the open house, next week I will show you how we get the open house registration. There's actually an open house registration where they can register like I showed you, but it's all built in. It's a coolest registration page, better than the one we had before. And they register at your open house and then the lead goes directly in here. And then you can send them that. Remember we talked about sending that automatic email and it sends them, here's the single property website, here's the neighbor interview if you did that, here's the 3D tour of the property, et cetera, et cetera. It'll automatically send them that email immediately after they register or at whatever time frame you want to do it. So I'll show you that next week. So what I was hoping that you accomplished today is just, first of all, get reinvigorated about adding people. Please add people. You cannot see how this works if you have 5 people in your database. Okay. Spend the time, add everybody, add every single family member that's in Utah or in the Wasatch Front, add every friend, every neighbor, do what I did. And I went through, our neighborhood, just add people. And it's crazy the kind of response you're getting when they get information that's useful and helpful, because most of what they're getting from agents is what? You ready to buy or sell? Do you know someone ready to buy or sell? Can I bring you some cookies? Stuff like that. Give them something of real value. Give them a home report. Huh? Well, they can be to some people, but they don't associate with real estate so much, I don't think. But you can still do that. I don't care. I just use that as a way of making fun of what a lot of agents stop at, I guess. Now I got to find, here we go. I'm going to stop presenting the screen. So here's what I want you to do. Please add people to your database. Designate them as a seller, or as a buyer, if it makes sense to do that. If not, when we get into, in a couple of weeks, after we go through the open house next week, and we'll make this a pretty simple one next week that we go through. In a couple of weeks, I'll show you about the power hour. And I'll show you about how to get people that you don't know what their next steps are, but they own a house and you want them to start thinking about how to use that equity. We'll get into that. But right now, if you put them in your database and they own a house, I've been doing this. I know. I put them in as a seller. I send them a home report, and I have no idea if they want to sell their house. And I've been getting responses from those people that I've been putting in there. I put in some family members. I put in some neighbors in our neighborhood. And I had a couple of people reach out to me and say, hey, yeah, that's interesting, And it's just a great way to converse with them and see if they're open. And almost every single person opened up the home report when I send it out to them. So please make it your goal this week. Add as many people there as you possibly can. Okay. And then make sure that your website is in a place that when they go there, it's going to help them get engaged with you, and you can put a home report together if they want to start looking for a home. Any questions about that? Once you have a seller that's interested, make an appointment, send a CMA to them, make an appointment to go do your listing presentation. And I want to see some wins here. I want to see everybody seeing the improvement and engagement that you're going to get from these people. And let's start getting some new deals. Okay. You guys are awesome. Unless you have more questions, any other questions online?
Mark Hansen has a couple.
Hey, Mark, what's up?
Braden and I are going to finish the AI one, so don't worry about that one. But I was curious, does Listing Blast have the ability to post to more than just Facebook, like the social option that we have, or is it only Facebook?
From what I understand, it was supposed to be Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube from what I saw about it, but I don't know if there's other options we'll have to put into that. But it like that one you saw, because I didn't have a video on there, it only did Facebook. So that's a good question. We'll have to check on that. But even if it just does Facebook, it's still the fastest and easiest way to throw out an ad. But
I use Facebook ads like crazy. It would be nice to integrate with Google ads too, because your cost per lead generation on Google is pretty close to what Facebook's is for the one that you showed us. So that's why.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, they do have a PPC option on it, but I haven't tried that yet. It's a different option. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, yes, Robert.
Is there any way you can negotiate with Lofty how to do those blasts for things that are not listings? So for regular ads?
You actually can, well, like the listing blast itself,
So
you can.
Listing blast has the way that they do it versus when you make a regular Facebook ad. When you make it, they have to go and fill out the information themselves, put it in.
Yeah.
When they do the listing blast, they don't have to put in the information. They just click on a button that sends up whatever they have in Facebook. So that's how it gets into your system, which is why you often get more conversion from listing blast than you do from regular.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I would really like to do that with things that are not just listings. So for
Gotcha.
example, we've written a book on HECM loans. So we'd like to be able to create an ad for HECM loans that people can click on, and then we can automatically send them.
Okay. So Jill, let me explain what Robert's saying. So Robert is really, he's been using Lofty for a while, and he knows some other options we haven't even talked about here. So what he's noticed with Listing Blast is that he's getting a higher conversion rate than when he just boosts it by itself, which is actually really cool. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could actually get a higher conversion rate on that. It's how they do it that does that. So if you want to use the Listing Blast option, it only works with the listing, right? Exactly. And he's saying, well, what if I want to create a landing page like the HECM one or any landing page out there, and I want to use Listing Blast option instead of just the boost option? We'll have to check on that. I don't know about them doing that. I do know. Yeah, I will say that, and we haven't gotten into this. Let me share my screen one more time because this is something that people might want to know about. So
maybe that would be a way to promote a rental property or even a real estate investing class or something.
Right. That's exactly what we're wanting.
Yeah. So the Listing Blast option right now is only available when you're doing a listing that you have right now. They do have other lead generation. They have buyer lead gen, seller lead gen, remarketing ads, and then they do have a zip code blast. I haven't got into these. So zip code blast is a lot like Listing Blast in the way that they will do the advertising for you. You select a zip code. So I'll just show this to you really quick. If you're at the point now, like I want more leads, we're actually starting to test this out. And we spent $83 and we've gotten 12 clicks on it. I guess we haven't gotten a lead on it yet since we started it. So we haven't gotten yet a lead. They even say it takes a little while for this to happen, but we're testing these right now. So you guys can get our results once we do this. We just started this, last weekend? Yeah. So we just barely started a few days ago or so. So right now we've got 1,100 impressions and 12 clicks on that, but no leads that have come in yet. We'll see how this works, but that does work like the Listing Blast. Then over here on this buyer lead gen, they have ad campaigns that run basically through Google PPC, Facebook, Microsoft PPC, believe it or not. I don't know if those are going to be any good. And then they have some other, it's called the MVP Lofty leads. We're actually in the process of testing these because we want to give you advice on how to generate a whole bunch of leads through what they're doing. And that's, if you didn't know about Lofty, Lofty started as Chime. All Chime used to do was lead generation for real estate agents. That's everything they did. What they realized, which we realized too, is that if you get a lead that comes in, if you can't nurture that lead well enough and respond quick enough to them, you've wasted money. So now they've integrated this full CRM package with nurturing, which we want to improve on with the leads that they generate. They're masters at lead generation. So we're trying to do both, but we're still testing it. That's why I haven't talked about it. But they do have an option, just so you know, and you can look into it, where in Mark online too, you can see this. There is ad campaigns that you can create for Google PPC, as well as Facebook ads, as well as Microsoft PPC. And then this MVP is supposed to integrate things like YouTube and other things like that. We haven't tried that one yet. Then they have a lead generation for sellers. We're testing this one too, right? On the seller one or not? Have we started that one yet?
We haven't started. No.
We haven't done that one. So we're going to start on this one. And then they have these remarketing leads. Basically, you can actually, anything that has been marketed, they have a more sophisticated system to remarket all your people and all the leads that do come in. So that's another one we're going to test. There's just so many options here. Then they also have sphere ads. So this would be just for your sphere of influence when you have a big database. So Mark Fay would probably want to know about this. We've been thinking about you, Mark, on this one because he has such a good database. This is a really good way to keep those people in your database engaged with you in other ways besides what I showed you today about the home report and stuff like that. So they have a whole package for sphere ads as well as local service ads. So we haven't gotten into this yet. But if you're going to farm an area and you really want to market that area, which I'll show you too as we go through this, how to do that, they even have a local service ads option that goes along with it that I'll talk to you about. So we're still almost scratching the surface on all the potential that we have here. It's all under marketing, yes. And they are really good at generating leads. What they found, and that's why they created Lofty, and that's why we're working with them, is that the nurturing component of it wasn't as sophisticated as the lead gen. And you generate leads, but you don't nurture them effectively, you're not converting high enough. So we want to convert higher through these advertising efforts that they have in here. Okay. So if you're excited now, keep getting excited. Please don't give up on this, folks. I know starting and everything seems overwhelming. I'm trying to help you set up your business in a way that you've got things set up to convert and generate more business and then go through that business quicker. Give this 6 months. You're going to be making 3, 4, 5 times what you're doing now. I know it. I believe it. You just have to keep going with it. So don't give up on it. But otherwise, what else are you doing? I mean, we have agents out there that are literally running around calling people when they think about it and responding to people when they call them. And basically we're running businesses without any intention, sophistication, automation. It's just like we're all over the place. We got to put it all together, but it does take time. And if it didn't, obviously then everybody would do it and there wouldn't be ability to grow in that way, right? You got to have systems and workflows set up and good smart plans. And that's what we're trying to do for you. So please keep up at it. Ask us questions. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week.
We got to raise.
Oh, Deneen. Yes, Deneen.
Hey, it's actually Don. Dean and I have been.
Oh, Don. Sorry, Don.
You're good. We don't have a video on, so I can't see us anyway. Let's see. How do I do that? There we go. Okay. Oh, she's hiding her camera from us. Let's see. So my question is on these. So I've created a handful of landing pages while we're sitting here for some of these properties, and as soon as the page loads fully, it pops up that schedule a showing box to try to get their information, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how
I would turn that off?
Yes, and where do I do that?
Okay, yeah, I can show you that. Yeah, that's I thought we showed that before, but let's do that again because that's important. Please turn that off, folks. Yeah, please turn that part off because that is, any buyer is going to hate that, or any visitor to your website. So if you go under settings and then you go to your, make sure I get it's been lead capture, I believe it is. No, that's in that part. Okay, give me a second. Let me try to find out where this is again.
Turning off the forced registration.
Yeah, where's that again?
Website.
Is it under website? Okay, I was in the wrong place.
Go to search.homes. And then go to settings.
Oh, it's the settings here. So it's a different setting. So you go to your website and then you'll have to make sure you got your website. Then go to settings.
Okay.
And then it's lead capture, just like where I was before. And this is the registration pop-up trigger rule. If I were you, I would customize it and then never trigger registration pop-up. If you want to play around with this, go ahead and do that. But honestly, my belief is nowadays, if your content on your page isn't compelling enough for them to want to see a house or do something, then they're going to go somewhere else anyway. Forcing them to register is the that I just hate it. But you can decide that this is where you do the trigger rule.
Thank you. That's what I needed. I fixed it already. So thank you.
Yeah, you could. This is where you do it at the website level. At your whole website, just turn it off. I recommend that everybody just turn that sucker off because yeah, you don't want any of them to come up because honestly, if they get to a landing page and it says, come see this house, or, it gives them options that they can give you information, but they're going to do it because they want to see the house, not because you force them to register. That's why when it says pop-up trigger, like a forced registration, I think that's awful. Just turn it off.
And if they get excited enough about seeing the house, they're gonna go ahead and opt into one of the.
Yeah. And if, yeah,
Self-opted in.
exactly. I mean, does anybody here like forced registration on anything? Okay, then turn it off. If you don't like it, they don't like it either. Okay, perfect. Good question, Don. Thank you. Any other questions?
So now when you do the open house, go see your open house this weekend.
It does. Yeah. I'll show you that next week.
That's not going to force them to sign up right now. To force.
Well, that's different because it's a registration page, but you're going to give them a reason. We'll talk about that next week. You want them to register so they can receive the 3D tour, the neighbor interview, or whatever else you're going to offer. To me, I believe everything should be an offering, and they want it because of what they're getting, not because I want you to register. Well, yeah, why would I? So we'll talk about that next week.
Okay, so what was this blocking?
That on your website, if you go on your website, someone goes to your search.homes website or whatever your domain is, that will pop up on different pages, forcing them to register. And that's what you're turning off. Okay. Awesome. Everyone have a great week, and I'll see you next week.